Oh, it looks like I'm on. I'm on now. Yes. I really saw these technical issues. Right.
Where's the shush cover?
Trying to sort out the technical issues. Half it is loading and half it. Broadcast webinar Zoom. You can all talk to each other. It's an opportunity to yes, no? What's news, everybody? How are you all? Broadcast Zoom meeting to YouTube live. It's working. You go live. Shafes, go live.
You are live.
No, Zoom meeting.
We can hear you.
Ah. No, I didn't. It went automatic. We just go live and afterwards we can change the name, or I should just quickly. Right, wait a second.
Your connection is a bit unstable.
It's streaming now on YouTube. It says preparing to live stream it. It's very slow. Why is it so slow? It says setting up your meeting for YouTube live. I'm sorry for. How do I do that? Oh, I did it. Right, it should be on. Is it on now? Is everything going? So should we just start?
Yeah, I've put the phone down.
Right, very good, Colton. So bye. Right, I'm very, very sorry about the delay.
I find you very slow and incoherent.
If you find it slow, just stop it.
Right, can anybody hear me now?
Nah.
Your bandwidth is low. It's not really possible to hear you.
Right, yeah, just.
Right,
you'll have to stop. You'll have to stop the. You'll have to stop the YouTube. It just doesn't work.
Should I turn this off?
Yeah. Just
Too much bandwidth. No.
Yes.
Oh, wait a second. Now can you hear me better?
Failed experiment.
Moshe, you'll have to bounce your.
Can everybody hear me better now?
What, John?
Is it better?
Moshe, don't give up your day job.
Sure.
That is your day job.
What?
Can you hear me now? Harvey, can you hear me now? Tony, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
No, your bandwidth is still low.
Very low.
Yeah, but he's only streaming.
I don't understand. Last week it was better. So maybe I should move the internet into the room. Why? Do you think in the hallway it's better, Moshe?
Well, we experimented. It was last week.
Was it now? Is it better or worse than last week? Can anybody tell me?
That's not too bad now.
Yeah, it's because we were trying to do too many things. We're trying to be clever.
Okay, we're starting a new perek. This perek describes the halachas of what is a woman allowed to go outside on Shabbos wearing. It's not discussing clothes. It is discussing jewelry, ornaments. It's not an easy perek for the sense that not the ornaments that people wear today are not very similar to the ornaments they wore then. Biggest question, there's two big topics we need to discuss. Somebody's on live, somebody's not on mute. Who's not on mute?
Shia.
I don't know. Okay, it's matter. Anyway, And basically, the big question is, why does this perek come after the perek of Babeh Behema? Why does the halachas of what a woman is allowed to carry come after the halachas of what an animal is allowed to carry? So, now basically, there's a few explanations. I'll just say one or two. One explanation is like this. The Rishonim say this, that the halachas of animals are much simpler. And since the halachas of animals are much simpler, so therefore the Mishnah, the Gemara always prefers to get out of the way halachas which are clearer. Halachas of Behim are much smaller. The human beings have many, many more clothes and many more things they can carry than animals do. So for first we finish the halachas of the animals and then we go on to the halachas of human beings. That's one reason why the halachas of Babeh Behima comes before the halachas of Babeh Isha, what is a woman allowed to carry. But the Yeshua says a nice point, is that an animal, since it's a responsibility to make sure they don't walk on Shabbos with anything carried, you have to take it off the animals before Shabbos. While human beings, they can wear it on Shabbos, and before they leave the house, take it off. So with animals, the job of taking the clothes off animals is something which is done already Friday afternoon, in order that when it comes to Shabbos, they shouldn't roam around with whatever they're wearing. Actually, a human being, let's say a human being is not allowed to carry a cup outside. He doesn't need to put the cup down on Friday, only on Shabbos, therefore it's going in the chronological order. I saw the Rishonim also say that animals get up earlier than human beings. So animals start the day much earlier. Sheep already up at the crack of dawn, walking around. That's why the halachas of animals come before human beings. Okay, so we described why Behema comes before Babeh Isha. Either it's simpler or it comes chronologically first. This whole perek tells us the halachas that a woman is not allowed to go outside with jewelry. There are a variety of reasons for it. The main reason is that if she goes outside and she'll meet a friend, she will be so proud to show off her jewelry, she'll take it off, show it to her friend, and then start walking with it and come to carry 4 amas l'rishus harabim. This is a gzeira mid'Rabbanan. This gzeira was so chomor, that there were many forms of jewelry they did not allow them to wear in the house. Why can't they wear them in the house? Because if they wear them in the house, they may come to leave the house. If they leave the house, they may come to show it to a friend. And once they show it to a friend, they'll take it off. And then they'll end up walking 4 amas. This is something which is many parts of jewelry are forbidden to be worn, even inside the house. Because of this, what would seem to us a far-fetched gzeira.
Isn't that gzeira up for gzeira?
Oh, so the Rishonim say it's not a gzeira because it was all instituted one time. So it's not a gzeira. It was all made in one go. Chazal actually wanted to forbid all jewelry. That no woman should not wear any jewelry at all on Shabbos. But what happened was they decided that for Shalom Bayis purposes, they should. And therefore, even though they're not allowed to wear jewelry outside the house, because of this chizir, they might take it off, but some jewelry they're allowed to wear in the house. Now, if you look in the Mishnayos and in the Gemara, you'll find that this halacha is brought down without argument, that a woman is not allowed to wear jewelry outside in the street, and certain jewelry not even inside the house. The $1 million question is that, in fact, women nowadays all wear jewelry. Have you ever seen a wife taking off her rings for Shabbos or not wearing a necklace on Shabbos? They do. How can it be that women wear jewelry nowadays on Shabbos? And this question is asked by nobody less than the Mechaber, the Shulchan Aruch, asks in Siman Shin Gimel Sifut Ches. How can it be that women wear jewelry on Shabbos when it says clearly in the Mishnayos, the Gemara, that it is forbidden? And there are a few answers given. I'll say them briefly. The Mechaber says that they're forbidden to wear jewelry. Not allowed to. But women refuse to listen. Since women refuse to listen, it is better that we should not tell them that it's forbidden. Since women stopped listening at a certain time in the days of the Rishonim or perhaps the Geonim, they saw that the Gezerah was being disobeyed. They decided to stop telling them off. That's what the Mechaber says. There are those who add, the more points this out, that you have another heter, that perhaps the Gezerah was only established in places where there are Rishus Harabim. And nowadays, very few people have a town which has a Rishus Harabim inside it. And according to that, any place that has no Rishus Harabim, it is permitted. There's a third reason brought down in the Poskim, is that women nowadays have an abundance of jewelry. So they do not show it off to the family and friends like they used to in the olden days. That means nowadays, if a woman's wearing a ring, when she goes out in the street, she's not likely to take it off and show it to her friends because at the end of the day, everybody has rings, everybody has necklaces. It's not such a major event. There's one further reason is, the Shulchan actually mentions this, he says briefly that women in the olden days didn't meet each other all that often. They used to stay at home. So when they met each other, it was a big event. So they would show off the jewelry. Nowadays, women see each other all the time. Very briefly again.
So it's a bit like nowadays.
Oh, I mean nowadays with the lockdown, maybe the exertion.
Yeah. There's no Papa Shushalavim and nobody's meeting anybody.
Oh, but the no Shushalavim, that's a heta, not a issa.
Yeah.
Again, in the Gemara, there's no remez to the fact to this thing. It means in the Gemara's days, it was clearly forbidden that women did not wear jewelry on Shabbos, full stop. The Mecham asks the question, why not? He says, Mutav Shushagikus. We had a few reasons besides. One is there's no Shusharabim. Another thing is that women are not so proud of the jewelry because they're used to it. And third of all, they meet each other all the time. And this is all based on the fact that Mutav Shushagikus, they're not going to listen to us anyway. The Bi'a Halacha writes that nevertheless, this is all b'di'eved. L'chatchila, a woman should not wear jewelry. The Chazon Ish argues, and he says that he told you to tell his sister who was married to the stipler that women are allowed to wear jewelry and they do not need to worry about it at all. So this is interesting. So it comes out, in fact, to be very spoil sports about the whole thing. Most of this perek, we're not going to pass them back. That means most of this perek, obviously many halachas that come in, but most of the halachas do not teach us anything because at the end of the day, we don't keep to it, right? Okay. Right. That means we're not discussing over here clothes. Clothes is a different sugya altogether. You know, I remember when I was a child, we used to have hats. We didn't have this, what you call raincoats, which you throw over your hat. And people used to go outside with like a Tesco bag, a plastic Tesco bag. In those days, Tesco bags were free. Nowadays, they're already worth quite a lot of money, about 10 pence. But in Maisa, people used to go out on Shabbos with their Tesco bag over the Shabbos hat when it was raining. And the Rabbanim came out to forbid it, which is correct. It is forbidden, if you want to be aware, if there's no Eruv, because you're allowed to wear clothes on Shabbos. But something which is not clothes is forbidden. But we're not actually talking about that. That's a different subject altogether. Here we're discussing a whole different gezerah where min haTorah it's all permitted, because at the end of the day, tachshitim, jewelry, is permitted. It's all midurabanan. Nothing here is deraisa, it's only durabanan. Right. Okay. So we'll see in detail more, but I just want to say two things. We've got two topics we've discussed. One is why this perek comes second after Behema, and why is it that we don't keep any of these halachas. Says the Mishnah on top of Nuzayin and Dalef. What is a woman allowed to wear and what she's not allowed to wear when she goes outside? A woman is not allowed to go out. In those days, they used to braid their hair, and they used to use nice strings, colorful strings made out of wool, linen, or straps, and put it in their hair. It says all forbidden. Let's see, Taka, it's nice to see the top of Rashi, Taka, because Rashi sets off the whole thing. Dilma Shulfa shall take it off. Look at Rashi's second line. Imagine a woman goes outside with a nice linen string inside her hair. She'll take it off, show it to her friend and say, look at the beautiful linen string. The Amos shall come to walk 4 Amos. The Mishnah continues, she's not allowed to toiva, if a woman is going to make her, she can't toiva with these braids inside the hair until they're loose. The Gemara discussed this all at length, what exactly these ornaments were, but they're forbidden. And not with the kovel or shusarabim. Till now I was talking about everywhere is forbidden. A kovel was forbidden only in the shusarabim. We'll describe what a kovel is. But in the shusay yochid and in the chotzer it is okay. And not with like a golden crown which engraved Yerushalayim inside it. A katla is like a choker. It's like something you put around the neck. and not with nose rings or earrings. Can you imagine if a woman would not be allowed to wear nose rings or earrings on Shabbos? Imagine tell your wife, no earrings on Shabbos. And no rings, even those that don't have a chosem. A chosem is a seal. Imagine a woman won't be allowed to wear any rings on Shabbos. And not with a needle which has got no hole, because that was considered an ornament, like a pin. If she does, why is she not chayav chatos? Why is she not chayav chatos? All of these things are permitted because it's all tachshitim, all ornaments which is permitted. The problem will be here is that this is only with rabbanon. So if she does, she's not chayav chatos. Now, the Mishnah tells us in the middle of the halachas of what she's not allowed to wear in the streets on Shabbos. It tells us halachas tefillah. I think what tefillah, man, doch hashemo, who mentioned tefillah. Why is a woman forbidden? Since she's not allowed to go to Mikvah until it's loose. That means this is a new gezerah. The gezerah we've been talking about till now is the gezerah that she'll show it off to her friends, and her friends will admire it, and she'll end up walking with it for hours. This is another gezerah. This is a gezerah that anything which a woman needs to take off in order to have a tevilah shel mitzvah, we don't allow her to put on, because let's say she decides to pop into the mikvah, she'll go there, and she'll take out the hair braids, the hair strings, and then instead of putting them back in after mikvah, she will then carry them home, and that's awesome. Tosafot points out that if that's the case, she shouldn't be allowed to take anything because she might not put on a shirt or a top or a coat. He says, no, we're not choshesh by clothes. People, when they come out to mikvah, they put them back on all their clothes. But ornaments, people don't always have the energy to do that all again. They make themselves up. That afterwards, there is a coat, she's allowed to go with a coat. Oh, she'll have to take it off when she goes to mikvah. And then afterwards, she might not put it back on. That one not choshesh. But when it comes to an ornament, jewelry, and these kinds of things, then there's a chashash that if you let her put them on before she goes to mikvah, and then she goes to mikvah and then comes out, then she won't bother putting them back on. So we've learned actually so far two different gezerahs. One is anything that she is liable to show off, and anything which is liable to take off and not put back on after mikvah. Now the Gemara discusses the halachas of mikvah. That means anything which is forbidden, anything which is a chatzitza for mikvah, any ornament which is a chatzitza for mikvah, is forbidden for a woman to wear on Shabbos. Says the Gemara. Tiki Khalil Tama. What about chains? Hollow chains. Like imagine you sometimes see these bike chains, or not sure I think when you see a chain, a link chain. So what happens if a woman decides to design to adorn her hair, to braid her hair with chains? Something which is woven a chain. They never exist on these things. They never made a gezerah on woven things. Never made a gezerah at all. And Rashi explains why did it not make a gezerah. Rashi says because it's not a chatzitza. Why is it not a chatzitza? Because you can't tie it down so tight. If you think about something like a loom band, or an elastic band, or a soft string. These things, if they tie them on the hair, you can do it very, very, very tight. And since you can do it tight, if she goes into mikvah like that, it's a problem. But if she's got a link chain around the hair, those things are loose. And if she tuvos, there's not a problem. The Mona says it's slightly different. I would see my sisters washing their hair, and they would leave the chains in their hair. Right? They would go and wash their hair, and they would leave chains in their hair. It says, what's the difference between the two versions of Rav Huna regarding whether it is a chain, whether it's the heta is because it's no chatzitza because it's loose, or the heta is because they don't care when they wash their hair? It says, if the chains are dirty, then at the end of the day they're woven. If a woman's wearing dirty chains in her hair on Shabbos, so this will depend on the two versions of Rav Huna. According to the version that they never made a gezerah on chains because chains are not tight, and therefore they do not serve as a chatzitza, And therefore, it's not a problem to take it off during mikvah. Therefore, they made no gzera. So therefore, a woman would be allowed to go out with dirty chains in her hair on Shabbos, should she wish to do so. According to the man Omar, the reason is because women wash their hair with these chains. They only wash their hair with clean chains. They will not wash their hair with dirty, muddy chains, because then the mud from the chain will then go back onto their hair. So then, if that's the case, it would be forbidden. So you've got machlokes between these two versions. Is a woman allowed to go out with dirty chains on Shabbos in her hair? So now, awesome. Now we're going to a little bit into the halachas of what's a chatzitza mikvah. Elu chotzin ba'adam, chutei tzemer, strings made out of wool. The chutei pishton, strings made out of linen. Bo'otzois shroshi abonis, and straps, which are the heads of girls. That means all these things we're discussing, adornments, hair adornments, which the girls have. And these are all chatzitzas, and a woman who tovas in them is no good. From hair or from wool, they're not a chatzitza, Rabbi Yehuda argues. Rabbi Yehuda says that wool and hair, that means let's say she takes hair and ties her own hair with somebody else's hair as an adornment. Let's say she adds, she wants to add hair to her own hair to make it thicker. Then that's not a chatzitza. Why is it not a chatzitza? Because the water will get through. If you'll notice, the Tanna Kama only actually talked about wool. He never actually talked about hair at all. Rabbi Yehuda was the one who brought it up for the very first time. The Gemara discusses that later. But let's get it clear again. Tanna Kama talks about 3 ingredients. He talks about wool, linen, and straps. All those, says the Tanna Kama, are a chatzitza. Rabbi Yehuda comes along about 2 kinds. He talks about wool and hair, they're not a chatzitza. Omar Avona, the kulon berosha abonishaninu. These things which are chatzitza are only if they're in the hair, not on the body. That means this halacha, that hair, that Tanna Kama told us that it is a chatzitza, strings of linen or wool, they're only a chatzitza if they're in the hair. But let's say they do it around the neck as a necklace, let's say. They're not a chatzitza. Says the Gemara, Maskeflo Rabbi Yosef. What did Avuna come to teach me? Avuna is telling me that anything around the neck is not a chatzitza. Lemute mai. What's Avuna coming to exclude? If it's coming to exclude the neck, that means it's coming to tell me that around the neck it's not a chatzitza or the mai. Which case? If it's coming to exclude wool. If wool on hair is a chatzitza, then of course wool on skin is a chatzitza. The Tanna Kama said that woolen strings are a chatzitza. But wool, said Rav Huna, when is wool a chatzitza? Only if it's on hair. If it's on skin, it's not a chatzitza. Says more logically, that doesn't make any sense at all if you think about it. Wool is a soft ingredient. Hair is a hard ingredient. It's hard, it's tough. Now, if you want to make something to fit in very tightly, that water shouldn't get through, which one would you consider more of a chatzitza? Wool on the hair or wool on the body? Says the Gemara, of course, wool on the body is going to be more of a chatzitza than wool on hair. Because if you take something soft and put on something hard, let's say you take a soft piece of string and you put it around the hard table, it will not be a very good fit. But if you take a soft piece of string and tie it around a soft pillow, then you can really tighten it very well. So therefore, if it's a chatzitza on the hair, kavachima, it's a chatzitza on the skin. So the Gemara says, "Velo limute de chutei pishton." So he's talking about linen strings, which are much harder. If a hard ingredient on a hard ingredient is chatzitza, of course it's a chatzitza. That means the Gemara doesn't understand Ravuna. The Tanna Kama came along and told us there are 3 things that are chatzitza. Came along Ravuna and said, only if it's in the hair. Says, well, on the contrary, if it's on the skin, it's definitely a chatzitza. And Rabbi Yosef had in time of Ravuna, she does not wish to strangle herself. Therefore, when a woman puts hair braids in her hair, she tightens them and tightens them and tightens them. And therefore, when she goes to mikveh, they're a chatzitza. If she puts woolen or linen strings around her neck, she doesn't want to hurt herself. She doesn't want to strangle herself. So when she puts them on loose. So a loose thread around your neck, if you go to mikveh, it's not a chatzitza. And that's why Huna told us that when is it a chatzitza, it's only on hair. Let's summarize. It's very easy. This Gemara, if you keep cheshbon, it's actually quite a straightforward gemara. The Mishnah tells us, the Mishnah tells us that it's a chatzitza if you've got wool, linen, or straps. It says Avona only if it's on the hair. The Gemara says no, on the contrary, on skin, these things are much more tight-fitting. And says, well, you're right, in theory. But the difference is that on skin, a woman will never do it tight. On hair, she will. So therefore, it is a chatzitza on hair, it's not a chatzitza on the skin. Eisve Abaya asks the following question. Habonus, girls, yotzis bechutin shbos name. If a girl has her ears pierced, and in order for the hole not to close up, they used to put strings inside until eventually one day they'll buy earrings. Those strings are okay. It's not a problem of carrying on Shabbos. Why is it not a problem of carrying on Shabbos? Anybody want to hazard a guess?
They won't take it out.
Why not?
Because it's not a tachsha, it's just there to stop the hole from closing.
You're not going to show off, a girl's not going to show off the fact that all she's got in her ears is a piece of string. She's not going to take that off and show it off. If she has earrings, that's forbidden, because she might take off the earrings and say to everybody, look what nice earrings my husband got me, or I got for my mother, etc. And she ain't carrying strings, she won't. Therefore, it is not very good. They're not allowed to go with what's called a choker. That means if a woman wears a gold necklace, which is not a necklace, like a metal clasp, like a collar around the neck, she's not allowed to. She's not going to strangle herself. So what's the problem? Because at the end of the day, they're not going to strangle themselves. And since they're not going to strangle themselves, so therefore it's not a chatzitza. And since it's not a chatzitza, they won't take it off from mikveh either. If they would strangle themselves, then the reason why it would be forbidden is because they might go to mikveh and take it off from the mikveh. But since you just said that women don't wear jewelry very tight, so therefore they're not going to take it off from mikveh. They're not going to take it off from mikveh, they're going to keep it on. So what's wrong with them wearing a collar on Shabbos? On the Ravina, top of Zayin on the face. We're talking about a metal, complicated kind of collar. She wants to look fat. In the olden days, the plumper you looked, the more wealthy and the prettier you were meant to be. It's actually interesting, you read about this too. That women would make as much effort as possible to look as plump as possible, because that showed a sign of wealth that was meant to be beautiful. There were many queens of England that spent a lot of effort indulging themselves to look as plump as possible, because that was, now the fashion has changed. So now, when it came to strings, they would not tighten it around the neck, because that's dangerous. When it came to metal, then what would happen is they would do it as tight as possible. The tighter the metal was around the neck, the more it made her look like having a fat chin, and wherever the skin did come out, it would go out in folds and make her look fat. So therefore, since a woman would wear that in order to impress other men, therefore, if she'd go to mikveh, would it be a chatzitza? What would you say? Yes, it is a chatzitza, because since she'd wear it extremely tight, water couldn't get through. So therefore, if she goes to mikveh, she'll take it off. And then when she come home, she might not put it back on, and therefore it's forbidden for her to go out on Shabbos for that. So again, a string is okay for a woman? Yes, because she won't do it tight, that's dangerous. And therefore it's not chatzitza for mikvah. Metal is forbidden, because metal, a proper collar, she will do it in a way to as tight as possible to show off how plump she is. And then she'll take it off for mikvah and then put it back, won't put it back on her. Says the Gemara. That if you remember before, the Tanna Kama said there are three: wool, linen, and straps forbidden. Rabbi Yehuda came along and said wool and hair permitted. Says Rabbi Yosef that by hair we pass like Rabbi Yehuda. Are they arguing? The Tanna Kama never said a word about hair, so obviously never argued about it. If you're going to say, if the Tanna Kama wasn't talking about hair, Rabbi Yehuda also wouldn't have talked about hair. And that's why when Rabbi Yehuda argues and says that wool and hair is not a chatzitza, because water gets through, he must have understood from the Tanna Kama that hair is a chatzitza. The Dilma maybe kashem komalu. He meant to say as. Just like you agree with me with hair, that's okay. Because water gets through. It's menami. That means like this. Everybody agrees that the halacha is that by hair it is permitted. The only question is, why is it permitted? Rav Nachman came along and said, Yosef came along and said, the reason is because we paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, that hair is not a chatzitza. And therefore, water can get through. Comes along and the Gemara and says, you're right, that hair is not a chatzitza, but not because we paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, but rather because the Tanna Kama himself never said that hair is a chatzitza. And since the Tanna Kama himself never said that hair is a chatzitza, so therefore we pass like the Tanna Kama that hair is okay. That means the Tanna Kama talks about 3. He talked about wool, linen, and straps. Rabbi Yehuda came along and talked about 2. Wool, which Tanna Kama had argued, and hair. So Rabbi Yosef came along and said we pass like Rabbi Yehuda regarding hair. Came along and Rabbi and said no, that regarding hair they never argued. Says the Gemara. Omar Nachman Omar Shmuel Moedim Chachamim. Sorry, Tanya which said that. Moedim Chachamim Rabbi Yehuda b'chutisel. Tanya Nami Chutisel mechutisel, chutisel ein chutisel. Wool is a chatzitza, hair is not. Rabbi Yehuda shall sell ein chutisel, not a chatzitza. Omar Nachman Beitzchak Masisi Nami Deka. It's bedurk from our Mishnah as well. Diktani. And then later Mishnah says, Yotze isha b'chutisel ben mishlo ben mishlo chaverto. A woman is allowed to go out with hair on Shabbos. That means if a woman wants to adorn herself by cutting off some of her hair and sticking that same hair back on her head, or taking a friend's hair and putting it on her head, that's permitted. Says the Gemara, Mani, who said that particular statement? If it's Rabbi Yehuda, he holds that even wool is permitted, so I talk about hair. It is a raya. So therefore, we've got a proof that regarding hair, they never argued, and hair is not a chatzitza. So regarding hair, it's not a chatzitza. Regarding wool, it's a machlokas. And regarding linen, everybody agrees it is a chatzitza. Now we'll go back to the Mishnah. The Mishnah gave us a list of ornaments that a woman is not allowed to wear. Says the Gemara, Lo be tutefes. My tutefes. What exactly is a tutefes? Omar Yosef, Chumusa de Ktifta. It's a knot which has inside it some medicine or some sort of medical properties that made people not have Ein Hara, right? Now, if somebody had this on their head, then they would not suffer from Ein Hara. Says the Gemara, it should be like a proven amulet, which is mutter. The halacha is a proven amulet is permitted, and this thing works for everybody, so it should be permitted. And apuzaini, it's an apuzaini. What's apuzaini? Apuzaini is a golden tiara, which is basically like a gold crown. It only goes from ear to ear, and it's a picture at the front. And that is forbidden for a woman to wear it on Shabbos. And what is the reason? Because if a friend sees it, she'll take it off. A woman's allowed to go out with a netting, and muzheves, which is made out of gold. A netting is like it's like a tichel with gaps inside it to keep her hair together. Ubetefes, and with this tiara, ubesalvitin hakvuin bod. We'll explain what salvitin are, which are attached to it. Ezu tutefes, ezu salvitin. Omabavo tutefes, and kofalamo is an oiza. That goes from ear to ear. Salvitin and magim no ad lechio, they go down to her cheeks. Salvitin are like locks. What you do is you take threads and tie them to the tichel, and they would dangle down onto the cheek like a bit like I should say like the Hasidim have these curly pairs. So they would have these made out of, let's say, cloth, and they would hang them off their head covering all the way down in colored fabric down to the cheeks, and that was like locks of beautiful locks coming down to their cheeks. Make them colorful. The wealthy women would have gold and silver locks. And poor people would have colorful locks. So all that is forbidden. And then woman is not allowed to go outside with a cover. And we're going to have now a very, very long sugya regarding what exactly is a cover and what the halachas of a cover. So first of all, tries to define what it is. I do not know what this cover is. And then we'll explain there are two kinds of covers. One is like an emblem or a badge, which a servant would wear to remind everybody that he's a servant. And masters were usually quite makpid, quite upset if the servant would take it off, right? So, one explanation of kavod is a servant's badge. Another explanation of kavod is a woman's hat. It was a woman's hat which was actually underneath the netting. She would have like a netting, and underneath it, she would have like a woolen hat. That was the style in those days. So we've got two explanations what kavod is. So just ask the obvious question: if we talk about a servant's badge, why does this Mishnah talk about it by women? So he says because the next Mishnah discusses other halachas regarding a servant's badge. We'll see. Again, so we've got two explanations what the Mishnah could be talking about. The Mishnah says you're not allowed to go outside with a kavod, and it could be one of two explanations: either a servant's badge, we'll call it, or servant's emblem, or seal. Actually, maybe a better word would be a seal, a servant's seal, or a hat. So Moses says, if it means a servant's seal or badge, then if it's made out of wool, it's okay. It means a woman's hat is okay. He says, Rashi, why is a woman's hat okay? Because women would be reluctant to take off their hat in case somebody would see their hair. Maybe we're talking about a woman's hat. But that means if already we forbid a woman's hat because we're scared that she might come to take it off, we should forbid a servant's seal, which of course he might come to take it off. So more later brings a machlokes and whether it is one or the other. That means Yana said, I don't know what it is, either this or that. Later, more brings machlokes Rav and Shmuel that according to one man domates to a servant's seal, according to another man domates to a woman's hat. So more says some people actually have it in the gills on the side over here. We're talking about a woman's hat. The Tanya Nami Hochi. Yoitze Isha bekovel. A woman's allowed to go out for the kovel ube istema lechotza. More explain later what chotza is. He allows a kovel. Why? Anything which is below the netting is permitted. That means like this. We'll discuss this again and again later. There's a big shaila. A woman would not show her hair in a public place. Rashi explains that it was possible for her to take the hat below the netting off in a way that her hair would not become to be revealed. I don't understand exactly how, but Rashi says it's possible. The Tanakama held that since it's possible, therefore it's forbidden. Rosh Hashanah said, since it's very, very difficult, it's permitted. Because this whole chashash we said, what is the chashash over here? That she'll take it off to show to the admiring friend. If she's not going to take it off, then there's no problem. So Shulchan says, no choshesh. But we see either way that what we're discussing when we talk about kavod, we talk about something which is on the hair, like the mandoma. That's not a servant's seal, but rather a woman's covering. My istima, amavavo bizyoni. My bizyoni. What exactly is bizyoni? Kalya peruchi. Kalya peruchi was a kind of scarf which, if a woman, after she put all her hair together, after she braided it all, there were always loose hairs coming out all the places. And what she used to do is she would put a scarf around the hair so that the loose hair should not go flying around. That was a kalya peruchi. And that is permitted into a chotza, but not into a shusarabim. The others say kalya peruchi's other explanations. Another explanation is an interesting explanation, is that a woman would wear it at a chuppah, and that way she could fall asleep during the chuppah because nobody would notice what was happening, because it's like a veil which would help her fall asleep. Others explain that it was a kind of head covering which would frighten away the birds. And then that way, the birds will make a mess in their hair, etc., won't disturb her. But Rashi doesn't say that. Rashi's kali peruchi means to keep that which is flying. Peruchi means to fly. That which flies, the hair which flies around, to keep it away. Tolabon says, well, 3 things were said about this istema. Istema, we said, is a kind of scarf which was put around the head that it shouldn't fly around. There's no Issa Kilayim. Why is there no Issa Kilayim? Because Issa Kilayim has to be when the threads are actually spun and woven together. Here, these threads are not together, they're just pressed together. So since it's not a proper beged, it's not clothing, there's no problem of shatness. There's no problem of tsuras, because for tsuras as well has to be a proper clothing. If you've got a sheet which is not a beged, it's not, let's say, just a tuft of wool or something, or a piece of linen which hasn't been spun into a proper beged, there's no problem with tsuras. When you're not allowed to go to a shosarabim. When the Churban occurred, what happened was they decided that men and women at the chuppah should not wear crowns because as zeicher l'churban, you're not allowed to wear a crown. The Gemara tells us in Sotah that one of the Amoraim's children, one of the son, once made a crown out of hadassim, which was quite a not expensive crown. It wasn't made out of gold; it was made out of hadassim. And what did happen? He died under his chuppah because he was over on this gezerah of our Torah's kalos. So this particular clothing, there's no problem at Torah's kalos because it is not a particularly adorning thing. It's just basic in order to keep the hair from flying around. Says the Gemara, "V'shmol Omar, kavla de'avda tanan." When the Mishnah says a woman is not allowed to go with a kavun, it's referring to a servant seal or patch. Says the Gemara, is that what Shmuel said? Did Shmuel say that? So he's allowed to go out with a seal around his neck, but not with a seal on his clothes. There were 2 kinds of seals, one which would dangle from the neck, and one which was actually sewn into the clothes. So therefore, according to Shmuel, that our Mishnah says a woman is not allowed to go out with a kavod. And what did Shmuel explain? What is a kavod? A servant's badge. How can Shmuel say that that's what pshat in the word kavod is? But according to our Mishnah, a woman's not allowed to go out in it. And Shmuel himself held that a servant is allowed to go out with a chosam. If the master made him this seal, this badge, so the servant would be very worried that maybe it fell, and if it fell, so therefore, since he would be scared of his master, he wouldn't take it off. He would leave it on his clothes. He was terrified. Mashenke, a seal which he made himself, then he wouldn't be scared to take it off. Since he wouldn't be scared to take it off, he's scared that he would carry it to Shusarabim. Again, our Mishnah says a woman's not allowed to go out with a kavod. Says Shmuel, what's the word kavod mean? A servant's badge, servant's seal. For the Gemara, how can that be? Shmuel says a servant is allowed to go out if it is around his neck. And says the Gemara, it depends. If he made it himself, he's not allowed to go out with it because he may come to take it off and carry it. If his master made it, then he is allowed to go out with it because the Chash will take it off and he wouldn't dare take it off. Says the Gemara, what did you say? That Shmuel was talking about where his master made it. And since his master made it, that is why he's allowed to go out, because he wouldn't dare take it off. So why is he not allowed to wear one on his clothes? His master made it. He wouldn't dare take it off. And since he wouldn't dare take it off, he won't come to carry it to the Shusarabim. So why is a servant not allowed to go with a seal on his clothes? And says, it might fall off. Or milsa, so be scared. When we capillate or fold it, or that means if a clothes which has the seal, and the seal which the master made for him, and the seal falls off, he'll be so scared, he'll take the clothes, the jacket or the coat off, and carry the jacket over his shoulders. And that is carrying. is chayav chatos. Why? Because that's considered carrying. If you take your jumper and instead of wearing it, you just put it over, you sling it over your shoulder, that is considered carrying, and therefore it's forbidden. And therefore the servant, when he goes out with his seal around his neck, since he's too scared to take it off because the master made it, so then he won't dare take it off. If it falls off, too bad, there's nothing you can do about it, it's gone. But a seal on his clothes, so therefore he's allowed to. Why is he allowed to go out with a seal which his master made him? He won't carry it around in his hand. What? Why is he allowed to go out with a seal which the master made him? Why? If he won't take it off because he's too scared of the master, he won't carry, and therefore he won't carry it around. If it falls off, it fell off. If it fell off, there's no problem. There's nothing to talk about. But if it's on his clothes, there is a problem. True, he won't take it off. It might fall off. And if it falls off, what will he do? He'll end up taking the clothes and holding it over his shoulder to hide the fact that the seal fell off. And then you'll end up carrying. And remember, this comes up much later. It's an interesting shaila you can think about. If you don't have an eruv, and you take off your jacket, you take off the sleeves of your jacket, and you just put your jacket over your shoulders, is that called carrying or is that called wearing your jacket? What would you say?
My father said that it's carrying.
Father says carrying. It's boiling hot. I remember people used to discuss this a lot. It's much more comfortable to walk around with the jacket over your shoulder than putting it on. Is that considered carrying or wearing? We'll see. It's what over here says it's completely folded.
I think they used to say never have felt that was allowed. I think.
Oh yes.
It's easy to quote him now that he can't defend himself, but I think he was sick with his name.
Actually, we'll discuss it later. When we get there, we'll talk about Psak. Okay. Gufa. Omar Shmuel Yitzhavet B'Chosim Shebetzaboy is allowed to go out with a seal around his neck, and not with a seal which is on his clothes. Exactly the same as Shmuel, that a seal on his neck is forbidden. But a seal on his neck is okay. As we said, he won't dare take it off. And if it falls off, it's too late. But on his clothes, he's not allowed to. Oh, sorry, I missed out a line. B'chihah, 3 lines before the 2 dots. They shouldn't go out with a seal on Shabbos, all the servants of the Reish Galusa. They're not upset with you. That means the Reish Galusa was the head of the exile. He also would insist that the Talmidei Chacham who worked for him had a seal. Except for Avchinana, he was not scared of them. He was like a very important man, therefore he didn't have to wear it. So the rest of them were not allowed to wear it on Shabbos. Why? Because if it fell off, they would be scared and end up carrying their clothes to hide the fact that they weren't wearing the seal. Actually, he wasn't scared, so therefore if it fell off, he wouldn't care about it. So therefore for him it was permitted. Gufa. When his clothes is forbidden. He's not allowed to go out, not with a seal on his neck and not with a seal on his clothes. They're not makabel tumah. The halacha is for something to be makabel tumah, it has to be a keli. A keli is anything which either can be used as a keli, as a vessel, or as an ornament. So if you've got a cup, that's makabel tumah. If you've got a necklace, it's makabel tumah. But this seal is neither benefit, you can't use it, neither is it an ornament. So therefore it's not makabel tumah. But lo bezug shebetzaboy, you mustn't walk outside with a belt. Aval yotzu bezug shebeksusa is allowed to wear a bell which is dangling on his clothes. More later discuss this at all. Zevazeh makabel tumah, both of them are makabel tumah. A bell is considered a keli, and it is makabel tumah. But lo teitze behema lo bechosim shebetzaboy. An animal is not allowed to go out, not with a seal on its neck, not with a seal on its clothes. Sometimes animals would get cold, you'd put like a cloth blanket over them, and sometimes into the blanket you would put a seal to remind everybody this belonged to you. It's also forbidden. Rashi explains why they're not makabel tumah. Because there's no such thing as an ornament for an animal. So therefore, an ornament, a necklace of a human being is makabel tumah. A necklace of an animal is not makabel tumah because it's not considered a vessel. So something which can be used in the Kabbalah Tumah or an ornament for a human being. So now, this was a long brisa with all the halachas, what a person is allowed to or not allowed to go out on Shabbos. But the main thrust of this brisa is that a servant is not allowed to go out, not with a chosam which is on his neck, and not with a chosam which is on his clothes. And yet Shmuel said that he is allowed to go with a chosam on his neck. Lema, let us say, that Shmuel was talking about a case where the master made it for him. And here we're talking about we made it for himself, and therefore he might carry it. Says the Gemara, no. Look, it depends if it's made out of metal or if it's made out of earthenware. If it's made out of earthenware, then what happens is, if it falls off, the master's got no complaints, because at the end of the day, it fell off. If it's made out of metal, let's say the master gives him a metal pendant to hang on a chain, and that is what the servant is supposed to go around on Shabbos. If it falls off on Shabbos, what will the master say to him? What should you have done? What should he do? If it falls off on Shabbos, what would the master say to him? What he's scared of the master? What would he do? Pick it up and carry it home to the master. And if that's the case, he'll end up carrying. So therefore, when it's made out of metal, when it's made out of earthenware, we don't care. It falls off, who cares? It's made out of earth, fell off. But when made out of metal, once it falls off, he'll carry it. It says, something which the master said, I want it back, can't go out. You're allowed to. Then the Brisa continues by saying that neither the one Makabel Tumah, not the one which is the later part of the Mishnah, not the part which is the animal wears on his clothes, and not the part which is wearing on his neck or his clothes. If we're talking about metal, we can do Makabel Tumah. That's why the Brisa has to tell you that these are not Makabel Tumah, but other kelim, other vessels made out of metal are Makabel Tumah. If we're talking about earth, if these seals not Makabel Tumah, but the kelim would be Makabel Tumah. Says the Gemara, the Brisa which talks about seals must be talking about metal, because the Brisa keeps pointing out which things are Makabel Tumah, which things are not Makabel Tumah. Now, if we're talking about earth is not Makabel Tumah, even if you have a cup. Now, we have to distinguish between earth and earthenware. Earth is where you take a piece of mud and you stick it together and use it as a cup. It won't last you very long. But if you take earth and burn it, and then you make out of it earthenware kelim, that is Makabel Tumah. So it's quite hard to remember this particular point, but it's a very valid point. Earth is not Makabel Tumah, right? Or dung. If you take animal dung and you make out of it a keli, it's not Makabel Tumah. But if you burn earth and you make out of it in a furnace, then it is Makabel Tumah. Either way, it says like this: if it's talking about earth, it's never Makabel Tumah, whether it's a keli, whether it's not a keli. And therefore the Brisa can't possibly teach me and say to me, in this case it's Makabel Tumah, in that case it's not Makabel Tumah. It's never Makabel Tumah. By the Brisa is talking about when it's made out of metal. Then, if it's a seal where it has no benefit and no beauty, then it's not Makabel Tumah. That I can understand. But if it would be made out of it, if it would be a keli, it would be Makabel Tumah. So that's why the Brisa has to differentiate between those that are Makabel Tumah and those not Makabel Tumah. And therefore it's a proof that the Brisa is talking about metal, not earth. And therefore, why in some places ever allowed to, in some places not allowed to? Answer is simple. By metal, if the servant wears it around his neck on his clothes and it falls off, what will happen is he'll be so scared of his master, he'll pick it up and take it home with him, and he'll come to carry. Mashenkein, if it's made out of earth, therefore, if it's made out around his neck and it falls off, he won't care. If it's around his clothes, then there's a problem, because then he'll be scared to walk around the clothes without a seal. So he'll end up carrying the clothes home in a hidden way. So we've actually answered with all the answers regarding seal. But since we talked about this Brisa, the Gemara continues to talk about this Brisa, because in this Brisa, the Brisa doesn't just talk about seals, it also talks about bells, right? If a person is allowed to walk around on Shabbos with a bell dangling from his hat or from his clothes or from his neck, but some people used to wear bells as an ornament, So that is what Shem tomorrow. That we'll do tomorrow. But so the fanatic more gives off a little bit about seals and discusses bells, both whether you're allowed to walk with them on Shabbos or whether they're makabel tumah or not. Okay. Is any questions? Any questions? No questions. So it's interesting Gemara. We talk about klei gelolim, vessels made out of dung. You think to yourself, if you ever read the book Go My Son, he describes that he was once exiled to some far-flung village somewhere in Siberia, I think it was, where the most precious commodity was dung from a donkey, because there was a huge amount of mosquitoes, and the only thing that would keep them away was to slowly burn this dung through the night. One night he never had it. By the morning he was almost dead from mosquito bites, and he couldn't afford to buy the stuff. And eventually he was forced to go and break into people's gardens and steal. And he always got shot at. And he thought to himself, how low have I fallen that I'm being almost killed in my efforts to search for dung. It's interesting. So you see, the old days, we don't need it so much for things. But to my sense, it's not makabel tumah, klei gelolim. Very good. Okay, so Mr. Shem will carry on tomorrow over here. The halachas of bells, whether they're makabel tumah, whether you're allowed to walk around on them on Shabbos or not. Atzlacha with everything. Any good news? Anybody say something nice? We had a simcha. No news. So you must be able to tell me something. I was trying to think what news I have. I don't know.
No news is good news.
No news is good news. I suppose so in this kind of circumstances, yes. It is interesting, there's the Mishnah Berurah, that he says that if a woman wants to be machmir, she shouldn't wear jewelry on Shabbos. It's interesting. Like, I don't know if any women even know this Mishnah Berurah. But I was happy to see the Chazon Ish argues. And he told his sister, married to the Steinberg, you can't get much from her than that she can wear jewelry, and she wore jewelry then. I haven't heard of anybody not wearing jewelry on Shabbos. Anybody heard of anyone not wearing jewelry on Shabbos? No. Okay. David,
Where did we end? Sorry.
Up to Omar Ma, which is 10 lines from the bottom approximately. I got 2 dots by there, then Omar Ma.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, I started everything. Shall I press end? Where's Moishi? Yeah. So what are you going to do now? You'd have to start uploading it, Moishi.
Yeah. It didn't work out.
Right, very good. Okay, thanks for trying anyway.
No problem.
See you. Okay, cool.